Yo, what's up, fellas?
What's good, bro?
Spadeanomics in the building. What it do, brother?
What's happening, man?
Oh man, ain't nothing, man. Good to see you, man. Good to see you and Cookz. I saw Cookz vibing. We heard that beat. You on mute, Cookz.
Unmute. Yeah, you go.
There you
Couldn't
go.
help it. I couldn't help
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Hey, that was dope. Well, I was sitting back there doing the same thing. Like, yo,
Ooh.
this is great. I don't like this shit.
Yo, you know what's crazy? I forgot. That's that's the first intro I did for, just putting on StreamYard, like counting down. And I was like, oh, let me just throw this on, at that last 30 seconds. Then I heard the beat. I was like, oh, shoot. Then I saw y'all vibe, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember Cook say you like that beat. So, shoot, you can use it for the intro.
Yes, sir.
Man, it was so cool, man. That was such a laid back vibe and song, man. I'm like, yo, man, like that's something you sit back, you might not be doing nothing or have your little drink or just sit back chilling and you just
roll
vibe
up
to the music.
Yup. That's what's up. Yeah, but that was my first trying to do like a lo-fi, you know what I mean? Like the lo-fi sound. I like that sound, you know what I mean? Because it's I think they got that from Dilla and Nujabes, it's like the new how it sounds, but they definitely had that, that frequency, when they first came out, man. Dope. But yeah, man, I just wanted to, come on and I was telling Cookz, man, such a busy Friday, man. we got the show tonight on Twitch, and we hit 6,000 on Twitch, and and then the hip hop, the birthday. So we're still celebrating that, and I got to finish 2 projects. Well, one I'm finishing up now, and I got another one on the weekend. So I was just telling you, I won't be on for that long, but I just want to, come through and, just welcome everybody to the debut, Fullblast Comics and Wrestling. You know what I mean? Cookz and Spadeanomics, give y'all all the lowdown on the wrestling and comics. You know what I mean? Shout out to Spadeanomics. He's back in it, doing the wrestling thing again. I heard you got a match coming up. So tell us more about that, and like what was you doing? What was your journey like doing it before, and then you retired? Now you decided to come back.
To start off, it'll be my next match will be August 27th, I believe. So it'll be like the last Saturday in August, and it's in Woodville, Alabama, which I found out. I'm like, dog, man, it's about a 2-hour drive from where I'm at, man.
Oh man.
So I'm going old school on this one, hitting the road, gassing up, and getting ready to go. So, Cookz, I hope you be able to go with me because I'm gonna need a partner to ride. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
And so, but to answer your second question, Tiger, is like my first go round, it was different because like when I started, everything was new. It was just getting used to it, being a professional wrestler, and trying not to let what little fame I had go to my head and stuff. Plus, I had hair back then, so you look youngster, you know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And but I was always real athletic, and for the longest in North Alabama, I was the only black indie wrestler.
Oh, okay.
Like if you went from middle Alabama around Birmingham area up, you couldn't find another black wrestler. So for years, I was the only one.
Wow.
And I think probably around 2009 or 10, started getting another one. And then I took my retirement in 11 because I was just like, I got married the first time, I was done. And I was just like, it ain't nothing left to prove. And then went back and, had some matches here and there. And then when the last federation, the one I'm wrestling for currently, New South Pro Wrestling, is where I first met Cookz at. And I go there and I'm like, wow, it's such an influx of talent, man. I mean, it was like people I never met and seen before. And guys, and I ain't gonna lie, it was a little bit intimidating because there were people who could do things in the ring that I can't do. And I always prided myself on being able to do stuff in the ring that other people can't do. And I'm like, okay, am I getting bumped from a main event level to more of a mid-card level or what? But people like Cookz and some of the other fans there, that I got to meet and know personally, man, it was like they just welcomed me with open arms and stuff. And it was real cool, being able to be a little bit of a veteran, locker room leader, so to speak, and, kind of have a say. And then going back now, I'm the, as people I work with say, I'm the cool old guy now. So now, like, I get people that come up to me and ask me for advice, like, and just little stuff like, man, how do you do this? Or how do you do this? Or, if I'm going to put somebody's leg in a chair and stomp on it, how do I turn the chair and where do I stomp on? I'm like, oh, wow, I'm the teacher now. I am the official old guy. I'm like, all right, well, let me give a little bit of knowledge back. So this time around is better because I get to be a little bit of a advisor / teacher.
Man, that's dope, man. That's dope journey to hear that, what you've done and what you're gonna bring more to the table,
Oh yeah.
Hopefully y'all can get a little bit of footage, you know what I mean? Y'all, can definitely share it on the show, after the match or whatever. So definitely looking forward to, seeing how that all pans out.
Yeah, man.
No doubt.
So yeah, man, shout out to I see Power in the chat. Salute, welcome. Leon in the chat.
Shout out Power. Shout out Leon.
Cooley was in there early.
Yeah, she was in there with the eyeballs. I saw her. She was looking around. What is this?
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's pretty dope, man. Pretty dope. So So yeah, where would y'all, go ahead like to start it up and like I said, man, I'm gonna be in and out because like I said, I got a real deadline with this thing and but I'll be in and out. I'll be listening while I'm working. And then, so y'all just go ahead and take the reins, y'all.
All right. You know what I'm saying? Well, y'all, everyone. Thank you for joining. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know I am Cookz 24. You know what I'm saying? That is Spadeanomics Comics over there. Channel 1A Spade 187 on YouTube. And y'all already know the channel where we at. Fullblast Radio. Please subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Hit all the buttons. Don't miss nothing. Don't miss nothing. Y'all tune in. Shout out to British Sterling in the chat. Peace walk across America. Shout out to him. You know what I mean? This is FCW, debut premiere, Full Blast Comics and Wrestling, where we will break down some comic things and where we will break down some wrestling things. And hopefully y'all get a better understanding of the wrestling nature, the wrestling crowd, and why so many people love it and why so many people don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Because there are differences in opinions. You know what I'm saying? Spade, man, you say what's up to everybody. I know they love hearing you.
What's going on, everybody out there in the world? I hope y'all having a good Friday. And just to reiterate what Cookz was saying, this is the debut Full Blast Comics and Wrestling. So we talk about comics and, wrestling. And like Cookz was saying, I'm making a return to the ring. So I got, a match coming up I'm preparing for. But, we just wanted everybody to have some fun and then shoot me some questions. I'm like, a little bit, and because we're gonna segue into everything, but a little bit of difference now is I'm not as protective about the business now as I was when I first started, and in between, like I didn't really like to share secrets. Now I'm just like, look, I'm old, y'all see everything, man. It's like WWE got the network and stuff, so I'm good. I'm good to tell it. I don't, I ain't gonna be like, oh man, I ain't sharing that no more. Nah, I'm telling.
Oh man, you might with the bouncer, so everybody know where they at. FCW, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know where y'all at. Just so y'all know, you know what I mean? And salute to everyone who's able to join, and also thank you. You know what I mean? We definitely enjoy dropping, some knowledge and letting people know what's going on. Because there are a lot of wrestling fans out there, and sure enough, a lot of comic fans out there, pop culture in general. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna jump on into it. We're gonna go and dig into the ground with this, and we're gonna start with some that a real important topic, because you can't tell the story of wrestling without it. And Spade, I know this is a topic that you have always been very knowledgeable of. It's a couple of things that you done told me. I done watched documentaries about it, and with us being black men, brothers, African Americans, you know what I'm saying, this should mean a lot, especially to the fans. And I am talking about Ron Simmons, the first black world champion.
Yeah.
So, Spade, I'll let you open it up with this.
Well, Ron has a big impact on my career. And the reason I say that is because, like, I any great wrestler, you gonna steal some moves. So I've stolen a couple of his moves before. But it's real cool to do. Like they say, imitation sincere is form of flattery. And Ron getting his start, or I ain't gonna say getting his start, but when the night he won the world title, and from Big Van Vader in Baltimore in August of '92, it was like that right there was just, oh man, and like I didn't realize it until a couple of days ago. Like he won the world title about a week and let's see, 1992, and I made my debut in 2003 on about a week after. So it was like a week and a year that after 10 years, 11 years later, that after he won the world title, I made my debut. And he had such a special, like I said, a big impact on my career. Like I worked out I tried to build my body up because I'm like, man, I want to look like Ron. I want to be intimidated. And when I debuted, a lot of people like, hey, man, you kind of like Ron Simmons. So my trainer told me, like, do his, as a finisher or signature move, do his big spine buster. So I started doing the spine buster. I'm like, man, it was funny. One guy, after I dropped him, he hit his head. He come back to the back. He was like, dude, you got to lighten up. I said, I ain't even spike you that hard. And he was like, okay, you strong as hell. And I'm thinking back to Ron, like how strong Ron Simmons is, because I always heard the stories. He worked out, but he didn't have to, because he was just naturally strong.
Now that's a good point right there, because let me jump in right there, because just to give a little bit of history before that, he also had a football career before that. And for those, you know what I'm saying, and DJ Tiger, like you said, you're in and out. So Queen City Twin, my twin, he probably already know this, but he played for Warner Robins High School, which is in Georgia. He went to college at Florida State. Position, he was a defensive tackle. And also in 1981, he went in the 6th round of the NFL draft. He played for the Cleveland Browns, the Ottawa Rough Riders, and the Tampa Bay Bandits, which is the USFL. Off season and practice squad member only. You know what I'm saying? 2-time consensus All-American in 79 and 80. He wore and his jersey number 50 was honored. So he already was off to a good start with his legacy. He just had to find that next. You know what I'm saying? Because like he was that strong. Like if he had you know what I mean? Like I guess what I'm trying to say, if he had his mind made up that he wanted to play football, he could have done it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Another tidbit is when you were talking about the USFL, the Tampa Bay Bandits. He also played with Lex Luger. Then.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
It's like,
he sure did.
That's kind of a little bit how he got his introduction into professional wrestling.
But he definitely put the work in, because Lex Luger, that's another subject. But I didn't know how he got into wrestling, and compared to Ron Simmons, he had an easy road.
Oh right.
Compared to Ron Simmons, but go ahead, continue, man.
But I would watch Ron like from I think I first seen him in I want to say it was 87 or 88. It was before he had teamed and with Butch Reed and Form Doom. But I would watch this guy and I was like, man, it was this, big old black dude with the Jerry curl, and he body slamming and power slamming and clotheslining everybody, and it was like I was just hooked, because the first black wrestler or first few black wrestlers I ever seen on TV were Rocky Johnson and the Junkyard Dog.
Right.
And so, like I would watch, but you couldn't always catch WWF back in the day, especially with us being in the South, but you could watch a lot of NWA and WCW. And that's when I first was introduced to Ron, I should say. And like we're watching him and just like, yo, man, like I'm watching this guy and I'm seeing how the crowd take to him, and they kind of oohs and ahs, and and some of the cheering and stuff he did. So I was like, hey man, that was really, really cool. I just kind of started gravitating toward him. And then I'll never forget when him and Butch Reed formed Doom, and Woman was their manager at first. And so my dad and I, they came out, they had the mask on and everything, two big old just bad black dudes, man. And I'm like, like this close to the TV, you know what I'm saying, glued in, watching them and everything. And then my dad instantly picked up on it, because Ron had the distinguishable voice. Like when he talks, it's Ron Simmons. You can be, basically, if you can hear in another state, you could be in another state. And when Ron Simmons speaks, that's his voice.
That's him.
So my dad was like, man, that's Ron Simmons, and I believe that's Butch Reed. And I'm like,
just in case y'all don't know who we talking about, let me give y'all a picture.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
World heavyweight champ right there.
Now, hey, tell them about this moment right here.
Oh man, Ron Simmons was he was a replacement actually, because Sting was injured. and Big Van Vader was challenging anybody for the World Heavyweight title. So in Baltimore, Ron steps up to the plate, and a lot of people didn't give him, really much a chance, because Vader, if anybody watched Vader and knew Vader, Vader was basically a big old bullet, but he was like a mountain of a man, like 6'2", 340, whatever. But Ron could kind of match him in the strength department now. I mean, he wasn't. Ron might have been a little bit smaller, but he could match Vader in strength. So you watch him go at it, and Vader's hitting him, taking him with everything he got. Vader goes for a Vader bomb and misses, and then he goes for a sunset flip. He sits on Ron. Then he gets up. He's going to give him another Vader bomb. Ron powers out of it. Vader hits the ropes. Ron catches him and power slams and pins him. 1, 2, 3. And you see the celebration right there. And it was like, I always felt that, and even now as an adult and older in my wrestling career, I always felt that that's such an important moment. Because you didn't have a lot of black wrestlers there. And as you see in the picture, most of the wrestlers were white, but they were all, like really good wrestlers, good baby faces. You got Barry Windham, Dustin Rhodes, the late Brian Pillman, all of them some great workers in their own right. And they come out to celebrate Ron like that, like this is our guy, You don't think about it then that he just made history. You don't know it. You just celebrate your guy.
Yeah, we were too little. I sure didn't know nothing, but I know with my uncle. I remember when he did my uncle. I remember my uncle and my granddad clapping their hands and saying, "We finally got us a black champion. Finally got us a black champion." But I also remember my uncle saying, "Oh, they ain't gonna let him keep it long though."
What's ironic was if you look at his title reign, it's like it's long and it's short at the same time. Because he kept it for 5 months and dropped it back to Vader. But
now, let me ask you this picture right here. At what moment was this picture, like as far as his championship reign, was this him like getting the fruits of his labor right here?
I would say that was either that was a week to about 3 weeks after him winning the world title. Okay. So it was a very short time after he won the world title.
Because in this picture, he looked more polished. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's like now, okay, I can relax. I got it. I'm here. Soak it up. If you don't like it, eat it up and just swallow it. It don't matter. I am the champion, and I'm the man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I wish you would grab me. You know what I mean?
Now, from the reports I always heard in the locker room, a lot of people, they were like, they might have tested a lot of people, but Ron Simmons wasn't one of them.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm gonna say 86 to 88, which is the early years. Jim Crockett Promotions, World Championship Wrestling, WCW, of course. This went down. But then we get to this point. Then we get to this.
Oh man.
I want to say now, just so I don't skip nothing, but this is WWE time now. WWF for those who remember, but now it's WWE. But Doom came 89-91.
Right.
What I got in my little information right here, Simmons began showing signs of heel turn as he got more aggressive in his matches, which I remember because I remember when he used to slam him, he kind of threw him off of it. Like, get off me. You know what I'm saying? I done threw you down and you still laying on me. Get off me. You know how he used to do. And
he put a little, like they say, put some mustard on.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Then NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the Dragon Steamboat, and a match on April 29th, 89 episode of WCW where he broke the rules. It was supposed to be a face versus face match against the Junkyard Dog. Simmons won the match when the referee, when the referee Ron's future manager Teddy Long made a fast count. You know what I mean? And if you know the history, Bush Reed, you know what I'm saying, Samoan SWAT team, Ranger Ross, you know what I'm saying? And Doom came into the picture. Doom defeated the Steiner brothers at Halloween Havoc in '89, and then Doom finished fourth, losing all three of their matches in an Iron Man team tournament. Doom's misfortune continued as Woman soon dropped the team to manage the Four Horsemen, and we all know who the Four Horsemen is.
Yeah.
Then on February 6th of '90, Clash of the Champions, Doom hit rock bottom when they were defeated by Rick and Scott Steiner. And you know the Steiners was on their move to the top. Shout out Michigan. As a result, the stipulations they were forced to unmask. And so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? We know how the program grow. And then finally we get to where he hits WWE. He had more in the middle of that, but for this picture right here, what's your thoughts on this part of his career when he started with WWE?
I wonder why they brought him in and completely changed his character, because it was like, I'll never forget when people like Ric Flair and Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson went there from WCW. They were, in essence, the same character. When Lex Luger went, his character did change. So I was like, why did they change some people's characters but not others? And especially with Ron Simmons, like, you got the first black world heavyweight champion, and then you put him in this gladiator gimmick. And Ron said himself, he was like, you know, he thought it was stupid, but he was like, hey, you the boss. So he went and made it work. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, you got this stupid blue helmet thing on. Farouk Assad, I get it. You want to be, you have him as a gladiator, but it's just like, I don't know, man. You could have made him anything else. He could have been a Zulu warrior or something like that.
Who bodyguard was he? He was somebody bodyguard first. Sonny. Okay, that's right. That's right. That's right.
She managed him. It was like, of all people, Sonny. But like you said, that's a different story for another time. But he did make a big impact, especially on the Intercontinental title scene. And it was such an impact that I always thought that Ron had won the Intercontinental title. Like, I remember him being in so many matches for it, but he never did. And I was like, oh man, that's one of my, I would say, I guess biggest wishes is I wish he could have became world champion in WWF too, but at the very least won the Intercontinental title, because I think he would have been a great workhorse champion. But as we, now see in his career, he didn't necessarily need it.
Right.
But
OG in the house. OG Green Lantern in the house. OG? Oh, brother OG, what up, you man? My brother, right? That's our bro right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this right here, in November of 1996, he parted ways with Sonny. You know what I'm saying? Got into a little beef with my boy that you can't stand, Ahmed Johnson, my boy. My boy, I love Ahmed Johnson. And then when he dropped,
what is it about Ahmed that you like so much? Like, see, my sister gonna get at you about that.
It was then though, man. It was like then. It was like, okay, I guess here go a perfect way to explain it. You know what I'm saying? Von Simmons was the bad guy, and Ahmed Johnson was the good guy. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, he had the Goldberg type body too. He was kind of Black Goldberg. You know what I'm saying? If you kind of think about it, you know what I mean. And I enjoyed seeing the two. Like, I like seeing the gladiators go at it. You know what I'm saying? Like tear it up. Two big dudes tear it up. Like, he throw you through a wall, like tear it up. You know what I'm saying? But and then he was quick on his feet, and at the time. But then he started to decline, and then what I'm saying, the rest is history for Ahmed Johnson. Farouk kept on doing his thing. But what I was getting at was when he dropped this, he turned into this.
Yeah.
We are the nation, a domination. This right here. A stable loosely based on the Nation of Islam and the Black Panther Party. Although the members of the stable were not exclusively African American, which we didn't know as youngsters, they mostly feuded with Ahmed Johnson. And at the Royal Rumble in '97, Johnson defeated Farouk by disqualification. Johnson eliminated himself when he saw Farouk in the aisle and chased him after. And I remember that because I really wanted him to win that match. And he jumped out the ring and disqualified himself just to chase him. That made me so mad as a youngster. What about you, man? You probably loved it, though.
But now, there were, first, a little bit of history. Farouk had two different, almost three different versions of the Nation of Domination. When he started, it was him, Savio Vega, and Crush.
Okay.
And so then they had like all these like lawyer type people and everything. And I forgot the little rap group that they had, PG-13 or something like that. And then like, you know, after Savio and Crush left and formed their own factions, Los Barriquas and the Disciples of Apocalypse, that's when you had like D-Lo and Kama, who would later become the Godfather, join in, and you know they were more black, more of a militant group. And at one point, Ahmed Johnson did join the Nation, and so, but like there were a lot of, I ain't gonna lie, there was a lot of backstage stuff.
Yeah, it was
happened, and that ended up having Ahmed ousted of the Nation. Like him and Ron, like legit don't like each other.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I don't know if you ever heard the stories or not about what happened with them two, but it was some serious stuff, man. Like
shit, what did drop a couple gems because this sounds like something I don't know.
There was a match one time that Ron and Ahmed had, and Ahmed kicked Ron in the back so hard, I think it like, you know, it did some damage to one of his kidneys. And so Ron was out for probably about 6-7 months or so, you know, just healing up. That's all he could do is just heal up. And from what I watched shoot interviews with D-Lo and Godfather and Mark Henry and other people, and they were talking about Ron was just at home, and you know he would see Ahmed on TV kind of bragging about putting him out, and he was like, you know, personally it affected Ron, and he was just like, this ain't no character. When I come back, I'm gonna whoop his ass. So when Ron came back, Jim Cornette also talks about it too, but D-Lo tells it best, and him and Mark Henry, and they were like, Ron came back to the building that day, and he walks in with his bags. You know, he said, you could tell by the look on his face, man, people just like, they didn't mess with him, they just left him alone. And so it was like, you know, normally locker room etiquette, you come in, you dap, shake hands, hug somebody, whatever, say hey to everybody. They was like that day, Ron didn't say nothing to nobody, he was just to himself. So D-Lo and Mark Henry, they said they knew what was up. And I think Ronnie kind of let them in, but they knew what was up. They said when Ahmed got to the building, they had the match. Normally you talk, you know, you kind of discuss your match, you put it together and everything. But Ron didn't do nothing. Ron didn't say nothing. And we like, we got to the ring. He said all the boys in the back went to the gorilla position. You could watch, you know, peeping out the curtain and watching the monitors and everything. And D-Lo said that was at the worst and best at the same time, but also the funniest and most deserved ass kicking he ever seen somebody give. He said Ron beat the brakes off of Ahmed Johnson.
What?
And I mean, look up, look it up on YouTube, man. There's some funny stuff. They were like, Ahmed doing all this big talking and everything, and Ron, he said, I've seen bears maul animals that, you know, would destroy small animals that was less violent than what Ron did to Ahmed, man.
Now that
oh man, so they said not too long after that, man, they fired Ahmed Johnson. But
So
man.
see, now you told me all that, and I swear I didn't know none of that. I knew they didn't like each other. You know what I'm saying? But being the young man that I was back then watching WWF, WWE now, and it's like you only know what they give you. You know what I'm saying? Because then let's see, we talking like what 90, 91, right?
I would say that was about at that incident. That was like 96, 97.
96, 97. So we really didn't have much media stuff to like keep up with, except for like, you know what I'm saying, like the magazines or maybe like if you go to a show and you get to see the interviews or something like that. But we didn't have much to get into. And I know at the time they had like them hotlines. I remember they used to have them hotlines, you know what I'm saying? And you can remember, I know y'all remember the hotlines back in the day.
I remember the hotlines.
You know what I mean? So, all right. So, you know what I'm saying? Breeze on past this, and then we get into this part of his career. And as you can see, you can see some of the greats that he in there standing with. You know what I mean? And each one of these characters had their own a WWE, WWF history. You know what I mean? Each one of these characters was part of a team, and then they became a team. And what was this team called again, Spade?
The Ministry of Darkness.
Ministry of Darkness. You know what I'm saying? You see Undertaker, you see Big Mabel, you see Bradshaw back there, which them two later on became the Acolytes, APA. And then ain't that what's my man name right? Henry Godwin.
Dennis Knight, Midian.
Midian.
Used to be Phineas Godwin, I believe. But he one of the Godwins. I don't remember which one. But yeah, you're right, one of the Godwins.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? So now what you know what I'm saying, looking at this picture, Spade, man, and just your memory, you know what I'm saying, what part of this career for Ron Simmons would you say this would be right here?
This was, I would say, a transformation, not necessarily transitional, but transformation into the Ron Simmons that kind of got him into the Hall of Fame, because him and Bradshaw were and are legit best friends and brothers. And you know, when you're in the locker room, you travel the road with somebody, you're gonna make form a lot of brotherhood. And Undertaker and Ron were real good friends. I'm not sure how Dennis Knight and Mabel, who are Viscera now, were with them. But I do know Bradshaw and Undertaker were real good, real close to Ron. And yeah, I think he had his most successful tag team run with Bradshaw in this, because they came out as I hate to say satanic, but along that lines, because Undertaker was playing like, such a demonic character.
Yeah.
And, he had really transformed from the dead man to more of an evil entity, not just a bearded entity.
Yeah.
And so watching Ron and Bradshaw come out, and they did like they always do. I mean, look at them. They're 6'3", 6'4", 6'6", 250 plus pounds, and they are muscled up. So what do you think is gonna happen in the ring? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And let me throw this in too. And shout out to OG and Power in the chat. Also these particular wrestlers that's in the ring, before they was this, they had their own character that they was, that they were for a while. You know what I mean? And it's like they all agreed, you know what I'm saying, to let's make this change and become this group and take over for a little while. You know what I'm saying? So not only him, but all of them was, you know what I'm saying? Because I remember what Mabel used to be. You know what I'm saying? I remember what Undertaker, and then you got the Godwin, and then Bradshaw. He used to be the cowboy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's crazy how all this power come together. But not only this though, Spade. Also, you remember this?
Oh yeah.
This.
The Brood, Edge, Christian, and Gangrel. Yeah, they were.
You know what I mean?
the Ministry was a pretty big faction.
And ain't it funny how, like, you know, like this faction right here was more than 5 members. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, like, if you you know what I'm saying, look at this picture. You got two of the top tag teams of the late 90s.
Hey, it's funny. Like half of them people are Hall of Famers too.
Yeah, matter of fact, yeah, that's right. Cause Christian, he's still wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Gangrel, he's still in and out. You know what I'm saying? We met Gangrel. I met Gangrel at New South when he made a special appearance. You know what I mean? So, now, and I say now this picture right here, they was a little younger. They was probably but this was before the other one, right?
I would say around the same time frame.
You know what I'm saying? Because you see Bradshaw right there.
Probably not too much difference in the time frame at all, because you know you still have Midian and Bradshaw and Farouk right there. So you know, and Edge and Christian and Gangrel were probably some of the younger members of the group at the time, but yeah, they were like they're probably around the same time.
All right, and then we get to this is the Ron Simmons that entered the Hall of Fame, and that across his shirt is the I'm gonna have to get a clip of that and get it saved in here, because this right here, this dam right here is a historic dam. You know what I'm saying? This is a historic right here. Like, he looked like he want to say it right now.
Now this is funny because later on in my career, of course, if anybody knows me, my character was patterned after The Rock. You know, I make no bones about that. But I would always be in the locker room all the time, and you know, if somebody did something stupid, and I really stole this from Ron, somebody did something stupid, I would look for a minute and I would just go, damn. And so it would crack everybody up, because like one guy turned around, he was like, I really thought that was Ron Simmons for a minute. I said, no, that's just me. So he comes to me like, dude, you should start doing that in the ring. I'm like, how would I do it? So we were, you know, screwing around one day before a show, and I'm messing around. I just wanted to see if I could pop everybody that's, you know, hanging around the ring. Like, I'm kind of getting some training in. So I go to hit the people's elbow, and right before I stop, I look at everybody else, and they're kind of quiet, and I just bust out, damn, and then I drop the elbow. So it made everybody laugh. And the particular guy that was telling me, I was like, he said, dude, you should do that in the match. He said, that shit would be so funny. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, all right, cool. So the first time I did it, I don't think the crowd really got it, but I know the boys in the back got it. So I'm like, at this point, I'm entertaining them, not you know, who I'm in front of. And when I came back through the curtain, they all popped for it. They were like, dude, that was so funny. Like, please keep doing it, keep doing it. I'm like, all right. So eventually the crowd caught on to it, and they would see, and I would always give people, they would see Ron Simmons on Raw, and then the Monday night, then when I'm wrestling that Saturday, they come up to me like, damn, and I'm like, okay, you know, something is catching on here, you know what I'm saying? I'm took Ron's thing, made it my own, but I'm giving homage to him because, you know, he's the one, like, it popped me, like, you know, I'm like, oh man, that's great. It was so transition. It's almost like the second Woo. And whenever I go to a WWE show now, everybody's wooing like Ric Flair. They woo, woo, woo. So I wait till it gets really, really quiet, and then I'll just bust out, damn, and you just hear people laugh. And my sister's like, I can't take this fool anywhere. Like that's all they gonna do. And I'm like, I'm trying to. That's what I want to do. I want to get the damn as the next woo when we go into show.
Got you. And that's a big salute to Ron Simmons, man. He's definitely been a great black leader, and for us to follow and watch and be inspired by. And he don't take no. And what I love about him the most in real life, he don't take no shit. You will not run over. You will not welcome at no Ron Simmons. Like when you talk about power, when you say power, Ron Simmons should be right there under it. You know what I mean? And I
I got to
salute.
tell
I
you this
salute.
story too. When I would say the first 2 times I met him, or two particular times I met him. The first time was at WrestleMania 27. And I was so pumped up, so geeked up to meet him. And like they say, never meet your heroes. In some cases, it is true. In Ron Simmons' case, that ain't true. Meet him. If you have a chance to meet him, just say, hey, that dude, he is one of, you can tell he's a tough guy. And you, like you said, he ain't nobody, he ain't no doormat, no stepping stone. But he is really nice and personable, you know, and respect. When he's the type that you respect me, I respect you. And that's just how he is, you know what I'm saying? And I talked to him, got to talk to him about 5 minutes and everything. And I said, Mr. Simmons, can you say it for me one time? He was like, yeah, I got you. And he was asking like who I want the autograph. I'm like, make it out to my dad because you know him. Like I said, my dad was always a big fan of yours, as am I, but he was always a big fan of yours. So can you make it out to him? So he signs it to Jimmy, 92 world champ Ron Simmons, and then underneath that he wrote "damn" on it. So then he gave me the damn after. So we were going to give that picture. Me and my sister were going to frame it and give it to our father for Father's Day. Unfortunately, my dad passed away before we could give it to him. But my sister was like, you know, I put that in the casket with him, so he has it. And I'm like, that brought me this strange sense of comfort because I'm like, I know he physically couldn't see it, but I'm like, I'm, you know, in my mind, I'm envisioning he saw it, so that makes me, you know, feel real good. The second time was at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. And he was with the Godfather then. They had their meet and greet at the fan exit. Nobody was in that line. It was like maybe 4 or 5 people in that line. I'm like, yo, I told my sister, hey, we gonna go meet Ron Simmons, the Godfather. She was like, let's go. So we took off running. We got in the line. And I had just gotten like my income tax check back. So I had, you know, pretty sustainable amount of money. This guy hollers out, hey, Godfather, where's your hose? Godfather said, man, I know where my hose is. Where yours? He said, I bet you I got more than you. He said, I bet you don't. He said, how much for your hose? Godfather replied, brother, you can't afford my hose. And Ron sitting there the whole time looking at him like this. And I pull out my wallet and I said, I said, Godfather, how much can I get for this? Godfather like, man, you for real? Man, stop playing. But you for real, right? No, I can't take your money. Stop playing. But you for real, right? No, I ain't gonna take it. But you for real, right? I said, yeah, I mean, now mind you, I had a fiance at the time too, but I was like, man, look, this Godfather, so baby, you gonna have to get over it. And so then I was like, but Godfather was like, no, he said, no, I'm not, but you for real, right? No. And so the little tender lady was like, she come over and gets in on the joke. No, put it away. We don't want to cause a riot. Ron Simmons had the greatest line right after that. He's like, hey, look, the man said he wants some hoes. And I'm sitting up there cracking up, laughing at him. Like, I laughed so hard I had tears in my eyes when Ron said that. So Godfather tells me, he was like, I said, all right, cool. I said, brother, I tell you what, if you ever come out to Vegas, come out to Club Cheetah and ask for me and I'll hook you up. I never made it out before he could sell the club, but I was like, you know, I'm going to get to see Godfather again, man. But Ron Simmons saying that right there, it was just like, God, you couldn't end that no more perfectly, man.
Nah,
like,
you couldn't.
Man.
That's dope. Hey, moments like that last forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's
man.
And while we on greats, another great,
Woo!
you already know, the legendary, still running, Ric Flair,
The
man.
Nature Boy.
This dude right here, man. You know what I'm saying? Has been shown enough a legendary, and as of now, you know he is 73.
Mm-hmm.
And he had his last match July 31st in Nashville. I hope that was his last match. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what's up, Dan the Man? I see you. You know what I mean? And I watched that match. He had Jay Lethal in there, which Jay Lethal can do a spitting image Voice,
Oh
you know what I
my
mean?
goodness.
Uh,
Love Jay Lethal.
you had Double J, Jeff Jarrett, which also, you can tell that he got some of his flair from Flair. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
Jeff Jarrett can still go, man.
And he can still go. He looked good in the ring too. And
Yeah.
then you had Andrade, which is
Andrade.
his son-in-law,
Yep.
because he's married to Charlotte, which is his
Uh,
daughter, who is a 12-time champion right now in WWE, or 13.
13.
13-time world champion, women's world
Mhm.
champion in WWE. So, you know what I'm saying? So she definitely gets it from her daddy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And this conversation right here, man, we ain't gotta hold it long. We can breeze through it. And you know what I'm saying? It's easy because, we done watched and seen and watched and hell, you done probably been there, you know what I mean? But like from a young man to moving on, you know what I'm saying, with Flair, like his legacy to the sport, what's your thoughts on that?
Ric Flair, to me, will always be the greatest world champion in history. And definitely one of the greatest workers. People talk about, well, who are your favorites? Who you think is the greatest, or who's your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers? Well, it's hard to pick a Mount Rushmore, but he's definitely one of my top 4 or 5. You know, might not be my number one, but definitely one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And Ric Flair has such a influence, I think, on a lot of people's careers, whether they wrestle a different style as him or not. And like is indifferent. Is like, but if you wrestling different men, because Nature Boy Ric Flair could take a broomstick and have a 5-star match with it. I've seen him make stars out of people. Sting says it to this day, he wouldn't be where he is or household name without Ric Flair.
That's
That
right.
series of matches that Nate had with Ricky Steamboat in 1989, I went back and watched that trilogy recently, and I'm like, I turned into a 10-year-old kid again, man. Watching, because I remember the Clash of Champions. I tried to stay up and watch it. That match went so long, I fell asleep, and I was upset because I couldn't get to see the end of it. And then the Wrestle Wars and the Shot-Town Rumble and all, and it's like, Steamboat won the title, he defended it, he dropped it, he bowed out gracefully. Ric Flair went on to the next feud with Terry Funk and still had that same magic that he did with Ricky Steamboat. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that dude, man, like people say what they will about Ric Flair, but I have nothing but the utmost respect and regard for him. I met him one time as well too, and it's like, to me, like you meet Ric Flair, how can you not love Ric Flair? I can understand how you don't love Hulk Hogan, but I'm not. I ain't talking about him because I
That's a different
already did.
story. Yeah, we'll talk about that on another one.
Yeah, but Nature Boy, man, just watching him create magic in the ring and elevate everybody he was in the ring with.
I was just thinking that. That's one thing I like about Flair that you just said. He gonna make sure that he look good, but he gonna make double time sure that you look great.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because like now that I'm sitting there thinking about it, if you think about like his iconic matches, like Steamboat, Sting,
Mm-hmm.
even Hogan, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just to have them two names finally in front of each other. When he went up against NWO,
Yeah.
when he came to WWE, WWF with the World WCW World Championship belt.
Who does that?
He said that they wasn't gonna pay him right, so the belt is his. It's
Mm-hmm.
going with me wherever I go. They calling him, Flair, we need the belt. We need the belt. Uh-uh. It's going with me. And then I'm going over here. I'm jumping ship and I'm taking it
Mm-hmm.
with me. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I'm like, yo, that's a piece of history that I didn't know. That's like, because when I seen that watching, when I'm little dude watching, I'm like, man, he got the belt on. I'm like, how you do that? I'm sitting there thinking, how do you do that? Like, how does that work? You know what I mean? I'm thinking he can just go back and forth whenever he wants to. Oh, he wrestled on WCW and WWE. Yeah.
Do you remember like whenever they started showing the gold belt on TV, like he would get they would blur it out.
Yeah.
From time to time they would blur it out. And
I did, but I didn't know then what I was looking at. It's like I was caught up in the action of the characters. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like I don't know it like I know now. You know what I'm saying? Also, Power 500 said one of the members of the Evolution. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big one too, cause like the Four Horsemen. You know what I mean? And then he a 2-time Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? TNA, WCW, WWE, and WWF, and Impact. Well, TNA Impact. Well, yeah, TNA is Impact, same thing, right? NWA, 6, like, and then you know what? How he say 5 decades of wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
5 decades, man.
That's man, like that's one where you just shake your head and say, wow. Like that's a wow right there.
It's so funny because WWE recognizes him as being a 16-time world champion. But if you ask Ric Flair, and even if you research him, he's won the world title like 21 times. There's a couple of times that like in Puerto Rico and some other places like that. I think maybe Japan too. I'm not sure, but he did drop the title to other people, and you know NWA recognizes it, but WWE doesn't. You know, because of the I guess the history or whatever. But yeah, Ric Flair has actually been world champion like 21 times.
Dang.
So even if John Cena were to come back and win a 17th title, he still does not break Ric Flair's record.
He does not break Ric Flair's record.
As far as for WWE is concerned, but as far as for wrestling history, he doesn't do it. And that's not a knock on Cena, because I'm like, Cena's a great champion.
Yeah, he do his thing. You know what I mean? And which that'll be great. Great getting into the next topic that we're gonna get in. But this right here was pretty much the last picture of Flair with that belt on. This was July 31st, y'all. And he wore this is the original belt from back then, y'all. If anybody remember, any wrestling fans, if you remember that belt he got on when you was a little kid and you're seeing it, that's the same daggum belt.
Look, excuse me for one moment. I gotta go get some. I'll be right back.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready for an exclusive Spade finna show us something? You know what I mean? What Spade finna show us? Hold on, let me get him off here.
Now, talking about Ric Flair and the world title.
Oh. Ooh. Ooh. That's a big shiny belt right there, dog. Ooh.
Yeah, where your boy got his own.
Ooh.
First heavyweight championship I ever won, and you can see what model it is.
Dang, boy, that belt looks so good. That's nice right there, Spade. Dang.
That's Ric Flair's belt, man. As we always call it, Ric Flair's belt. Other people done held it too, but when you look at it, everybody always say that's Flair's belt.
Man, that was nice. I thank you for showing that, man. You know what I mean? Now let's go ahead and jump into, because you know we pushing for time a little bit, but couldn't help it though, because we couldn't rush through that Ron Simmons like that. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna jump. I guess what we can do now, man. Since we already done pushed for our time, go fast when you talking good. You know what I'm saying? So you mind? Let's go on ahead and segue into the comic side. You cool with that? All right. and we'll start off with this right here. Chat room, please. We love your opinions, we love your facts, so please give it to us. Whatever y'all think, we love to know what y'all think as well. Spade, this is one of your topics that you sent to me behind the scenes when you said comic movies and shows should run their course. So just so I understand exactly what you mean, so I can have some type of opinion, what you mean when you say this?
All right. So recently, the Batgirl movie got shelved by WB and by Warner Brothers. In the CW, Flash is ending. They canceled Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow. They went kind of a different route with Superman and Lois. Then on the flip side with Disney Marvel, you have some of the movies aren't quite as, I guess people are not as excited for them as they once were. It's like it's been 10, 12, 14 years of all this stuff, as the popularity of it, I should say, because we kind of always had it. But for the boom period, it kind of started like in 2008 and 9 with Iron Man, and then it progressed on. So my question is, has this thing run its course? Because like CW might get bought out, and like I said, they canceled a lot of stuff, and so like now the shows, I think the Arrowverse shows left are Superman and Lois, which is not set in traditional Prime Earth Prime, Stargirl, which is the same way, and then I think they're having a new like Gotham type series. I forgot what it's called, so I've been hearing different things about that. Then, like I said, on the movie side, they can't quite get everything, whatever. They canceled Batgirl. Flash, I think is done, so it may or may not come out. I mean, obviously it probably will. But it's just like, I don't think people are just lining up for and watching these movies and shows. Like, so I think maybe the popularity is declining. So I'm just kind of like, has it run its course now? Because you used to hear a lot of talk about, hey man, this happened on Flash, or this happened on Arrow, or check out the crossover, or blah blah. Shoot, man, new Thor just came out. I'm gonna go see it. Doctor Strange 2, which I finally watched Doctor Strange 2. I thought it was a great movie. It was like, Marvel's answer to a horror movie for me. Some people enjoyed it, a lot of people didn't. And, so it's like a lot of movies are, you either like it or you don't, but it don't really please everybody. And, kind of some of your traditional comic book fans like myself, they're all, I ain't gonna say they're all nitpicking, but they're all nitpicking. Yeah. And I'm like, I get it, it is Hollywood, so a lot of things are nuanced. But like, you take different stories from this book, this storyline, and you put them all together, like you might have is somebody writing their own story. So I don't know, but that was my question. Yeah, Power 500. The Twins canceled too. Yep.
Me, and then OG said Lazarus, aka OG, he said, do you think it's because they saturated us so much so fast that us as fans, we as fans got spoiled? I'm gonna say yeah to that, because one thing that always bugged me inside when I listen to other debaters is that they always compare, the old stuff to the new stuff, like we do with, the MJ and LeBron, or we can do it with the wrestling. You know what I'm saying? The start to Roman Reigns versus Hogan back then, or Bruno back then. Like we always compare these, and it's like, who's to say which would be better if we put them together in a time frame? You know what I'm saying? They did give us a lot, and I take this like what OG just said. This put me on Morbius. My thing about Morbius that I ain't heard nobody say yet. My thing about Morbius, I ain't talking just storyline. My thing about Morbius is when it's like Morbius was like Morbius was like an anthill, like a nice little size anthill. Between two mountains, you got Spider-Man with this all this Spider-Verse linked to this, linked to that, 3 Spider-Mans in the movie, all this over here. And then over here, you got the Doctor Strange, the what if characters in it, what's gonna happen, links to Scarlet Witch. You got all that going on over here and over here. And right here, you just got a little bit of Morbius. You know what I'm saying? You just got him and his little story. You know what I'm saying? We ain't really seen nothing yet. We heard he was coming. We heard him and Blade was gonna be at it, and just all him and Spider-Man supposed to have the cover on the comic book. All this. Now nobody really liked it. A few people liked it. A lot of people had their comments about it, and it's like, how can you expect that movie to be as good as 3 Spider-Mans? And it's the ones that you like and don't like, and the new one, and all this other right here, and then you got Doctor Strange, and then you look over here, go straight to Doctor Strange. It's like, how can you look what all you got? You know what I'm saying? Look, you got Zombie Strange, and you got Scarlet Witch, and she done went straight heel, and you got, what I mean? You see what happened when what's my man name? What's Doctor Strange's right hand man? What's his name? Wong. You see where he went when he went through that portal and all this. You get to see all that, and it's like, and then whatever that story gonna open up, you know what I'm saying? Post credit scene, and it's like Morbius had no chance. He had no chance. I don't know if it was you. It was one of us in the Comic Dude squad that said Morbius should have been first.
I think
you know what I'm saying.
The Comic Book Squad. It might have been. I believe it was OG that
said
that.
But said that should have been first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's just my thoughts on that. Power 5 also said that, which I heard this also about this 10-year plan. And you definitely is got both knees in DC. So what's your thoughts on this 10-year plan shit? Because I kind of believe it, because if they scrapping everything to get to catch up finally, I kind of believe it. But what's your emphasis on it?
I think it'll work if they get whatever it is they're going to do, and whatever they're going to use for the foundation, and build off of that and leave it. Because I've heard conflicting reports. First, the Justice League is canon, and I'm like, please no, because that movie was horrible. What Josh Whedon did to the Justice League movie was an atrocity. That shouldn't even be legal. Then I heard that that's not going to be. They're going to go the Zack Snyder Justice League route. That's going to be it. And I'm like, you can build off of that, because it has more continuity, more story, makes more sense. But my only thing I worried about is, where are you going to start? Y'all got to start somewhere. It's like, where are you going to start? What's going to be your foundation? What's going to happen with your core characters? Are you going to bring Ben Affleck back as Batman and continue his story? I know he's in the Flash movie. He's going to be in Aquaman 2, so he's reprising his role. But are you actually going to bring him back as Batman? Secondly, what are you going to do with Superman? Are you going to continue this whole dangling the carrot or whatever, him on the string, saying, hey, we going to do something with Superman. We don't know what, but we might not bring Henry. I'm like, for most people, Henry Cavill is this generation's Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
They look at Henry Cavill and they see Superman.
Yes.
Like, you can look at Christopher Reeve all day in other movies, you still call him Superman.
Then that's still my boy though. That's whenever I see his face, all I see is that little suit.
Yep. And so you can watch Henry Cavill on Witcher. You can see him in Mission Impossible. Guess what? Most people still say he's Superman.
I see him with a beard. That's Superman right there. He just in training.
There you go. And so my thing with that is, like I said, you got to know where to start. I believe a 10-year plan can work if you start and stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then don't go a 10-year plan. Go about 3 or 4. Then do another 3 or 4. It's literally like telling a story. Do 3, 4 years, then boom, your next 3 to 4 years, then boom, your next 3 to 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
That might work better for DC because they don't have the financial backing that Marvel had. Warner Brothers Discovery, the merger with Discovery might be great, and in the long run, right now there's a lot of discombobulation because Discovery's having to clean house.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, okay, well, do we want this? Do we want that? Like I said, all this stuff getting canceled, all this stuff, ending and all that. It's like, y'all just gonna have to go clean slate and start, from a beginning, unless you pick which Justice League or which set of movies or whatever you want to start from. You want to start from what Zack Snyder created, start from that. If you're going to start from after Snyder's thing, start from that. If you're going to start a whole thing, which I always disagreed with the Flash movie being Flashpoint, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, they're trying to erase a lot of stuff out of continuity. Like, you're gonna bring back Zod and Fayora from Man of Steel, but you're not gonna bring back Superman. So you're gonna change continuity where basically Superman becomes Supergirl. I'm like, that's kind of dumb. You can
Mm-hmm.
have Superman and a Supergirl in
Mm-hmm.
the same universe. That's kind of DC canon. Everybody knows they're first cousins.
Right.
So you want to do that, and it's just like they just, I don't know, man. Like I said, I hope it worked. I'm kind of rooting on, but I'm just like, at the same point in time, nah, maybe you shouldn't do a 10-year plan. Maybe you should do a 3 to 4 year.
Okay. And you know what? I wanna this it for some reason this hit my head. And you the perfect OG, you know where I'm going with this. You the perfect somebody to help me understand. This for me. um can Superman breathe in space? Give me the reasons why. I Googled and look at the answer, but I just want to know from somebody who knows Superman with and without the glasses. Like, when he in space, what is the rule?
All right. This is a gray area because the answer is yes and no. And people like, well, at one time, yes, he could breathe in space. He was just that powerful. That's how how they wrote him back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, not so much, because he kind of, as the millennium turned, from 2000, they kind of depowered him a little bit, so he can be in space and he can hold his breath for a long amount of time. And if he goes into deep space, then he needs a breathing apparatus. And that was evident in one of the Justice League cartoons back in 2000. So, like I said, the answer on that is yes and no. The ultimate answer, it depends on who's writing them. Because if somebody
Mm-hmm.
wants to write them where he can fly outside of our solar system and still be able to breathe, then he can breathe. If they want to be like, all right, well, he can fly to the sun, but he needs, oxygen, then he's gonna need oxygen. But if you watch the end of Superman and Lois season 2, man, that man flew into space and he was
That
still
move
here
flew
talking like we talk.
that dude flew into the sun. That dude, he
Yeah,
threw it to the sun
yeah.
and
And see,
came out. Woo.
but he didn't have any powers before his brother flew him to the sun.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you don't have no powers, but yet you in outer space breathe and talk. So like I said, ultimately it just depends on who writes. But
Okay.
my opinion gonna always be, I believe he can breathe in outer space.
Okay. And before we go to the next topic, we almost at the end too. Power 500 said it's both, but only a certain time. The DC AU and the Timmyverse used to do a contrast of that. What's your thoughts on that? Okay.
Yeah, I see OG's comment too. He don't recall him needing to space him. Is OG watch the episode where Amazo comes back to Earth and you see all the Justice League up there. Superman does have on a spacesuit where he has an apparatus over his face. The only one who doesn't really have one is Green Lantern because he has a green aura around him that protects him. But it's in that episode. If I find a picture, I'll send it to you.
Okay, good one. That's a good one.
What was the question again, Cook?
That was it. That was it. I was just that's what I was getting at. What I was just saying what Five was saying. Third Eye, what up? So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, DDAU and the Bruce Timm verse, yeah, they did a contest. So like I said, it ultimately depends on who's writing. If somebody want to make him breathe in space, he'll be able to breathe. If somebody want to depower him a little and give him an oxygen thing, that's what they're gonna do.
Okay, cool. All right. So now we're going away from the end. This right here is the good one right here, and I definitely want to know everybody's opinion or factual on this right here. Shout out Fullblast. Is it time to retire classic characters and create new material?
Oh man, I can't wait to hear some of these answers. I'm like, I hope y'all read this, give us some good ones. I want to hear y'all's opinions too.
You know what I mean?
Some of like my answers are kind of like, yeah. Because and I'm like, don't get me wrong. I look, I enjoy Steve Rogers. I enjoy Peter Parker, my distant cousin in another universe. I enjoy, of course, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. And even, they all have legacy characters now. You have Sam Wilson is Captain America once again. You have Miles Morales, Spider-Man. Superman has a son. Batman has other people that can take up the mantle as well. And it's like, it's funny because especially in the case of Peter Parker and Bruce Wayne, they were created back in the late 30s, 40s, and stuff like that. So by our standards, forgive me for saying this, everybody, they would be old as hell. And so I'm like, dang, now you watch Bruce Wayne adopt Dick Grayson as a teenager, and Bruce is already like in his, 20s or maybe almost 30. Dick Grayson grows up, he's like in his 20s, almost 30, and Bruce still like he's 30. I'm like, y'all aged Dick Grayson, didn't age Bruce Wayne. Dick Grayson went on to leave Robin, become Nightwing, even became Batman for a period of time, and then back to Nightwing.
Right.
You got Superman, Clark Kent, who has a son, a Superboy. You also have another Superboy. Then you take John away for a minute, age him up, and he becomes a new Superman, and you take Clark and take him to War. It's like, I'm sitting there thinking about all this stuff like that. You got Peter Parker, who had been switched bodies with Doc Ock, died, came back. Miles Morales, you put him in this world, he's Spider-Man. So I'm like, why you have all these legacy characters? Why can't some of these other characters that's been fighting a good fight for so long retire, and you just the other guys take up the mantle and do, take it upon themselves? I get it. It's a gimmick. It's to sell books. And that's the thing. Reading is a lost art in this day and time. I still read comic books like right now. I'm starting back reading a lot of them. But I want to see different stuff. It's just like if I retire, and I've retired from wrestling many, many times. But I retired from wrestling, you're not going to find another Spade. But you can find somebody that's going to be in my main event position, but they're not going to be there if I'm still there. Right. I'm not going to be able to wrestle forever. So I either going to have to train somebody, show somebody this, and then it's like, look, as my skills decline, man, young man, you got to step up. It's your game now. It's your world now.
Passing the torch. Passing the torch.
Exactly.
Passing
So
the
it's
torch.
like that can't happen in comics. Like, why is that? I mean, I understand people have their favorites. I understand these are characters we love. And granted, yeah, they'll basically outlive us all. But it's just like, man, is it time to go ahead and give these people their flowers and be like, look, man, y'all be the coaches from the sidelines a little bit, you know, advisors and stuff. We seen it in the Batman Beyond TV show. Bruce was, you know, he couldn't continue being Batman. Gotham didn't have a Batman for years until Terry McGinnis. And then you see Bruce coaching him on how to be Batman. I'm like, that was to me the ultimate, the greatest transition you could ever show, far as for a character a new character taking upon this mantle and making it his own. And I'm like, it can be done in print form too.
Okay. We got some questions, some in this chat, and I want to catch them because I don't want them to be. I don't want to think I forgot it. So here I come, y'all. Here we come. FCW. Kevin Simmons asked, "Do you think when Wolverine died that he wanted to die?"
In the movie or in the comic?
Kevin, in the movie or in the comic, Kevin?
Because I think in the movie, I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay.
I believe so in the movie. Okay, he said comic.
Okay.
Comic, I don't necessarily believe that he wanted to die, but I knew he was willing to in order to, you know, save his team. You know, like they wrote and make the hero the ultimate sacrifice. So I'm like, I ain't gonna necessarily say he was wanting to, but I believe he was willing to. Might have even been ready to be like, okay, look, I may not, but I am ready should that time come.
Okay. Also, Power 5 made a good point and said that create new characters will establish them where they can earn the mantle, similar to Batman Beyond, like you was talking about. Shout out to 500. OG also said as long as Peter is still around, Miles will always be called Miles and not Spider-Man. I agree with that.
I agree with that too.
I agree with that. Okay. And let's see, anything else I can catch? Is it Kevin said, remember he got melted. Kevin also came back and said, remember he got melted on the roof and basically was turned into a statue. And I do remember that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So all in all, I'm cool with retiring a character as long as you retire them the right way. Don't just have them disappear. It's a 10 season and they disappear somewhere between season 3 and season 5, and then mysteriously come back in season 9 or some mess like that. Like if you're gonna retire somebody, retire them right. You know what I'm saying? Like retire right. You know what I'm saying? And I remember Method Man saying this on the Math Hoffa show when they asked him about being a character in Marvel, and conversation went into a little deeper than just him. They actually had conversations about how they making movies and how stuff going. And Meth said, of course we know how the stories go, and we got people collect so many comic books and they read and they know, but it's time to come with new stories.
Yeah.
And like if this certain and I feel him on that, because if this happened in 85 and then they remade it in 95 and then another 5 years and then maybe another 10 years, like it's time that let's see where else we can go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you know what I mean? Like what, like I always want, like whatever happened to E.T. when he made it home. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what happened? What happened to Lil Gizmo when they killed all the gremlins? What else happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Where did Howard the Duck go? What did he do next after the concert? You know what I'm saying? Like, I be wanting to know the stuff. You know, you be wanting to know, just like wrestling. You know, when your favorite win the belt, you expect to see them wrestle every time the show come on.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't wrestle, you wonder where they at, what they doing. You know what I'm saying? So retire them the right way. Just like you were saying, when you retired, this, and that, came back because of what your reason, and then next time you do it, you're gonna make sure that it's just how you want it. And you know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with all the opinions and facts, and just do this like everybody say, just do the story right. Just do it. Just write it the way like don't change it in the middle of an original story. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably why a lot of people get upset with some of these movies now, because maybe they changing the story right in front of our eyes and we just don't see it. You know what I'm saying?
And you're right on a lot of that. A lot of people they like I said, they do change the story. If you take a Civil War, for instance, they made it a Captain America story, and the Civil War was between the Avengers. Iron Man said we should sign the Accords. Captain America said we should, and like that was the whole thing. It was not too dissimilar from what happened to the comic, but at the same time, very different. Because in the comics, they were like, all right, there was what's called a Superhero Registration Act. A lot of superheroes unmasked, which in Marvel, pretty much everybody knows who a hero is anyway. They don't really have secret identities anymore. Spider-Man, one of them that unmasked, and and Cap was the other way. Cap was like, nah, we shouldn't do this thing because what if, just like in the movie, what if someplace needs us and we need to go? And so a lot of people, it was in between like that. And but in the comics, of course, because it's comics, Marvel owns their characters in the comics. They had a lot more heroes than what we had in the movies for licensing rights and all that. But Civil War in the comic books went a while, and it resulted in Captain America's death. And so so that ended up happening. But like I said, it just happened completely different than the movie. And a lot of people are like, well, man, this wasn't in it, blah, blah. And like I said, a lot of times Hollywood nuances things. And so when they nuance stuff, you're like, all right, well, what's this and blah, blah. They take a little bit of this story, a little bit of this story, a little bit of this story, and they make a story. And sometimes it's a not necessarily related story, but one that kind of tells a little bit from the comic, but it's his own thing.
Okay. And before we get into this, our partner said something very interesting. Kevin, once again, he had a real great question. And he said, do y'all agree that we need a Gambit backstory movie? His comic story should be told. I actually agree with that because Gambit is also a personal favorite, you know what I'm saying, of mine. You know what I'm saying? Like his powers is off the chain. I mean, touch something and make it and you know what I mean? Take something, throw it, make it blow up. Like that's a dope power, you know what I mean? And just his overall look is dope. Then you know what I'm saying? He's from the South, you know what I mean? So it's like, what's your thoughts on that? And people in the chat, what do y'all think about an actual real Gambit story? As long as it's done right, though, of course. As long as it's done right. But what you think?
I would like to see it, but not really right now. And the reason I say that is because, like, say what you will about all three of Wolverine's movies, I like the first one. I liked Origins. A lot of people didn't, but I enjoyed Origins. Logan was the best.
Yeah.
The Wolverine was the least, but in my opinion. But I think with Gambit, if because Gambit has a pop culture cult like following. I would say that. Like, I don't know if the grand scheme of people or grand whatever amount of people know necessarily who Gambit is. They might have heard of him, but like people that are not necessarily hardcore, but that grew up on the X-Men from the 90s to now know who Gambit is. But there are several people who don't. So I think a Gambit movie right now would hurt more than help. But if they can find a way to focus, maybe give his book more of a focus, then I believe at that point in time, then yes, once he starts gaining popularity, absolutely do a movie. Once people that are maybe your more nonchalant type comic people start hearing about it, getting interested in Gambit, and those people start calling for a movie, then it's time for a movie.
So in wrestling terms, he need a promoter.
But yeah.
Okay. Got you. Okay. All right. So let's touch on this last bit. Once again, Spade, you perfect partner to talk about this with, because who better knows the mixture of wrestling and the comic book worlds. And I'm talking about from outfits to Comic Cons to movies to commercials, whether you know it or not, the mixture is so real to the point to where you can find that some of your favorite wrestlers actually collect comics, Funko Pops, graphic novels. They wear the shirt. Their ring wear is comic themed. Sometimes their theme music is comic themed. You know what I mean? Sometimes their whole character is comic themed. So Spade, you know what I'm saying? Bust a move on this, man. Let some of these good people that we talking with know the mixture of what they can see when it comes to the wrestling and the comic book worlds, coming from a professional wrestler and a professional comic book collector.
The first thing is you have your basic elements. You have your good, you have your bad. Good and evil. That's from the beginning of time. And they always gonna clash against each other like that. Keep on. One gonna get an advantage, the other gonna fight back, but they're always gonna butt heads. Then a basic, that is the basic element, good versus evil. A bad guy always has to believe what he's doing is right. And that makes for a successful story in wrestling and in comics. Now, I'm going to segue to that in a minute. But my other point being is basic storytelling. The good guy has to win every time. The bad guy has to win one time. And the reason I say that, if say for instance, oh man, I hate using this reference, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Hulk Hogan, he's the quote unquote good guy, and he beats everybody. It's like, well, what's the point? Hogan's gonna win, so he's never in any jeopardy until he fights somebody that, like the Undertaker. Then you look at him like, ooh, Hogan might not win this. When you take somebody like Batman, for instance, and I know everybody say prep time, but still, Batman's still just human. But you take somebody against Batman and he fights Bane, and somebody he can't prepare for, that Bane's studying him and everything, and Bane breaks his back. And you're like, ooh, where does Batman go from here? So it makes for an interesting dynamic because your favorite didn't win. And I'm like, wow, so that's like the biggest thing is a good guy having to win every time, bad guy having to win one time. And then, like you talk about on the wrestling side, there are many wrestlers that are comic book fans. You take, like we have on the graphic here, Rey Mysterio, you take him. Look at some of his costumes that he's worn different times. He's had Daredevil, The Flash, Batman, Joker, Spider-Man, Silver Surfer,
Goku.
Yeah. all type of different pop culture references. So and he's even said he's a fan of this stuff. He's a pop culture fan like that. He collects books. He reads stuff. He watches movies and TV shows and cartoons. Where does he get his inspiration from? From that. And then at the same point in time, people look at Rey Mysterio as a real life superhero.
Yes.
In the wrestling ring, you know what I'm saying? These characters are larger than life, even though Rey might be shorter than me, but he's still a larger than life character, And that's the way you look at a Superman, a Captain America, Batman, a Wonder Woman, or somebody like that as a larger than life character.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, something in them that you can relate to, something in a certain wrestler you can relate to, but it's still a larger than life character. So you got the storylines, you got the costumes. Again, you might see these men and women in the wrestling world. You might see them in a restaurant. You might see them on a plane or somewhere else. You might see them at a gas station. And then you go to the arena that night, they basically transform, they get into their gear. So now it's like as old as Superman stepping into the phone booth and coming out as Clark Kent and coming out as Superman. Then you have this character that's performing, flying across the ring, forming these feats of strength. And I don't care what nobody say. If you ain't ever picked up a human being and body slammed them, and I have, that takes some strength. And people like wrestling figure with it, that takes some strength. So yeah. So when your superhero is fighting the bad guy, it takes physical and mental and emotional strength. When you're in a wrestling ring, it takes the same thing.
Okay. True. You right. Salute to Kevin. He said he subscribed. Thank you, Kevin. You know what I mean? For saluting. We definitely do this because we love it. You know what I mean? We are fans. We are fans of and collectors, and definitely love the questions that you drop. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy that. Also, shout out to OG. He made a great point because he said CM Punk wrote Drax.
Yep.
Chavo wrote Warrior. Simon Gu wrote Ringside, and Nyla now as well. And he thinks that's cool, and I do too. That's dope that they also writing, you know what I mean? And that shows the drive and push that they have. And I enjoy seeing that, you know what I'm saying? So but that pretty much is, you know what I'm saying, just the tip of the iceberg, but there is more, you know what I mean? So other than that, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. Spade, you have any last words you want to say and how much you enjoyed this first episode, you know what I mean? Like I know I had fun, man. How about you?
Oh man, I had a ball, dude. And I'm like, thank everybody for tuning in and for being in chat and offering your opinions and questions and everything. Thank y'all so much. Babe bro, as always, it's always good to team up with you on these different podcasts. And DJ Tiger, man, thank you so much for giving us a platform to, and talking with us and creating this thing that we have now. Like, man, that is off the chain. So big ups to you. Much love and appreciation to you and to everybody. And like, this is something that we all have talked about for a while. Like, the dynamic with comic books and wrestling. So if y'all know any comic book wrestling fans, please tell them to tune in to us. We'll be here, and shoot, hit us up. If you have any questions, hit us up on Instagram. You got Spadeanomics right there. Fullblast Radio, always Cookz 24. So yeah, man, subscribe to follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channels as well.
You know what I mean? And if you have a dope collection, if you have a collection, if you like to collect, you know what I mean? Please hit us up in the DM and let's talk and let's, you know what I'm saying? I would like to see some of your collection. We would like to see some of your collection. I know definitely we like to show our collections sometimes as well, here and there, you know what I mean? And it would be dope to see some of the stuff that you have, you know what I mean? Whether it's wrestling, action figures, magazines, old school stuff, you know what I mean? Because we definitely take this deeply, you know what I mean? I also would like to say thank you once again to everyone who joined in today. Uh, subscribe to Fullblast Radio, and you will get all of your fix. You know what I'm saying? From Monday to Monday. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop, life, comics, appreciations. You know what I mean? All day long. Like, tune in here. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is tune in here, and you won't miss nothing. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Full Blast Radio. Salute to him, DJ Tiger, doing this thing as he always do. Thank you for giving us a platform, man, to just have fun and do our talk. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he'll be able to join us, sometimes he won't because he's busy. You know what I mean? Shout out to Spadeanomics Comics, being my big brother. You know what I'm saying? And always looking out. You know what I mean? We make a good team. We connect, man. You know what I'm saying? And you always know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna just splat nothing down on paper. You know what I'm saying? And I thank you for that, bro. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Straight up. Um, so with that being said, tune in next week. Same time, same place. Thank y'all for joining in. You know what I mean? OG, Kel, Power, Third Eye, Miss Cooley. You know what I'm saying? Make sure I ain't forget nobody. You know what I mean? Okay, yeah. I know it's some more in there, but some people didn't say nothing. So shout out to y'all too that just watched and chill. Big Country, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to all, you know, man, Dan the man. Shout out to you too, you know what I mean? Shout out to all y'all that popped in and said what's up, hello, or just, you know, just tuned in just to see what we was talking about. So other than that, Spadeanomics Comments. You already know the motto. So before we go, we're gonna end it with the motto. So before we go, let me just last say, follow always Cookz24 with a Z, Spadeanomics Comics, Full Blast Radio. And before we go, Spade, let them know one last thing.
Never judge a book by its cover unless it's a comic book.
Y'all take it easy. Much love to everybody. Peace and love.
Peace and love, everybody.